Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So in this pattern, in first row we have A, in the second row we have B, in the third row we have C. Like that, in every single row, the values of alphabets is increasing and we are getting a single value in a single row. Like that, this pattern is having. So let us go ahead and see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So for that, I am taking variable rows, and in order to keep track these rows. So in this pattern, we have 5 rows. So for that reason, I am taking the value of rows value as 5. So apart from this, we are starting with the alphabet A, right? So for that reason, I will take the alphabet A and I will convert this alphabet into its equivalent ASCII code. So if you don't know about ASCII codes and how they works, how to convert ASCII codes into equivalent alphabet, equivalent integer, watch out my first video about alphabets pattern printing one so that you can able to understand them more clearly. So in this video, I will give the information which is necessary in order to print this particular pattern. So that is as part of that to convert this particular alphabet into its equivalent integer value, we will be using a specific method which is ord. Ord will convert this alphabet into its equivalent ASCII code. So for every alphabet in English, we will be having a unique ASCII codes. That is what I'm telling. So I will be assigning this ORD of A, which is a ASCII value of this A to alpha, so that we can keep track of these alphabets in order to generate these alphabets here. So later, in order to generate this many number of rows, I will use a for loop. So for I in range, we have 5 rows, right? So for that reason, I will start with 1, which is the first row, and I will go till row plus 1, which is the fifth row. By functionality of this range, rows plus 1 will be stopped at the value of rows itself. So if you don't know about this range function also, I sincerely suggest you to watch my video about range function so that you can able to understand more clearly about how this range works. So in this for loop, what I will be doing is that I will just print the value I so that we can able to understand for every single value here which represents which we can compare with this particular rows here. So we have first row like that, we have first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, like that we have 5 rows. So now what we need to generate is that we have generated rows, so we need to generate columns, right? So for every single row here, we have columns. In this row, we have 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 4 column, 5 columns. Like that, in every single row, we have 5 columns here, right? So for that reason, what I will be doing is that I will take one more for loop instead of this for loops because these are repeating, right? So in every single row, we have 5 columns. So for that reason, I will take one more for loop for j in range. So now we need to generate the range of values. So we have standard columns, right? So which are starting with 1 and going till the value of rows plus 1. This is nothing but how many number of rows we are having, right? So for that reason, I am starting with 1 and I will be going the value of rows plus 1 so that by the functionality of this range, we will be stopped at the value of rows itself. So in this, instead of printing this particular I will print the value j, and I will also format this a little bit so that we can able to get some standard pattern. So if you don't know how I am doing the standardization of this format, so watch out my any video about pattern printing of numbers so that you can able to understand why I am doing kind of a thing here. So this is to mention everything in a single line, and this is to mention to have a new line character after completion of this inner for loop. So now if I execute this, we can able to see in every single row we have 5 columns which are 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5, like that we are getting this. So now what we need to do is that we don't want these numbers, right? So we want these particular alphabets here. So for that reason, what I will be doing is that I will replace this j with alpha, which is what we are using in order to keep track of this, right? So for that reason I am mentioning alpha. So this alpha need to change, right? So now let's print this. So we are getting everything as alpha, which is 65. So this alpha needs to be implemented in every new row, right? So for that reason, after completion of this for loop, inner for loop, I will be incrementing this particular alpha. So I'm incrementing by 1. So now if I execute this, we can able to see in first row we have 65, 66. Like this we are getting. So we need to convert these numeric values to equivalent ASCII codes so that we can able to get the alphabets. So to convert, we have a specific method which is CHR. CHR method is responsible to convert the integer value to its equivalent ASCII codes. So if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern. That is what we are expecting here. So if I replace this particular A with some other alphabet, let's say I am replacing with E. So if I execute this, we are able to see E, F, G, H, I. Like that, we can able to get this kind of a pattern. So now what I will be doing is that I will replace this particular rows with input so that we will dynamically take input from the user of how many rows user wants so that we can able to print the pattern accordingly. So for that I am mentioning int input. I am asking user to enter rows here. So now if I execute this, it was asking me to enter rows. Let's say I am giving the value, let's say 2 here. We can able to see we have 2 rows and 2 columns having A and B. Let's say I will give one more number. Let's say I am giving 8 here. So I can able to see we are getting 8 rows and 8 columns having the values starting with the A going till the value the alphabet of H. So I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this pattern by any rows given by the user and also by any alphabet that you wanted here. So if you found any difficulty while understanding this logic, I sincerely suggest you to watch this video once again carefully so that you can able to understand it clearly. And apart from that, if you want to grasp more about this pattern print, watch out my previous videos about number pattern printings and star pattern printing so that you can able to understand more clearly how we can print this kind of patterns. So in the next video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So if you found this video interesting, hit the like button. In the next video, we will see this pattern. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next.